is up? GoodMicWork back at you for your Monday Night Raw review for March 14th, 2016. We're also going to get into WrestleMania talk and, of course, the Roadblock special event that took place on Saturday night. Only 2 Monday Night Raws left until WrestleMania. We're less than 3 weeks away, and these Raws better start getting good because tonight's Raw from Pittsburgh was not that great of a show. We'll get into all of that here in just a minute. First things first, I'm sure you noticed, brand new intro here on the GoodMicWork channel. And I decided it was time to get legit and come up with my own intro, my own graphics, my own music, a new logo, and a few other things too behind the scenes that I've been working on. Found a really great guy who designed the first 7 or 8 seconds there of the intro graphic. It was kind of up to me to put some music and sound effects with it. It's kind of a work in progress, but for right now we're going to go with this. I need to be a little bit more consistent and have something exclusive and unique to my channel and my channel only, instead of just coming up with different intros on the fly and using music and shit that doesn't really belong to me. So I'll start each video with this intro from now on. I've also got the new logo that I have several different colors of and stuff, but I'm going to use this one primarily across all of my social media sites. And it's been a pretty exciting week. Not only was I working on a new logo and intro, I've also finally got the t-shirts ready for you. As you see right here, they're available right now on my website. You can go to GoodMicWorkCommentaries.com and find them there. Click on the merchandise tab. It'll take you right over to it, or you can click the link in the description below. I'll put one in there. Shirts are only $20, include shipping and handling for inside the United States. If you would like to support the channel and the brand, buying a t-shirt would mean a lot to me. Right now, my only form of payment is PayPal. I will expand that in the future if there is a need for it. I'm not quite big enough of a YouTuber yet to get on ProWrestlingTees.com or anything like that, so I'm kind of up to doing this myself. But I found a great little mom-and-pop t-shirt printing place here locally in town in San Diego, and they have been an absolute joy to work with. They've been so helpful, and I gotta say, I think for those of you who purchase one are going to love them. You've been asking me to get t-shirts for a long time. I think I've been talking about it for about 2 years now, but I figured I didn't want to do anything drastic until I at least reached 10,000 subscribers. I felt before then might be a little too early to start launching merchandise lines and shit like that, but I decided to give it a shot. We'll see how these things sell, and since I am a one-man show and I'm going to be mailing all of these out personally myself, please allow, 2 weeks for the first batch of shirts to get to you just so I can get everybody taken care of. But I promise you that'll be the absolute longest you'll have to wait for a t-shirt. But I'm pretty excited to get some of these sold and send them out to you guys. You've been looking forward to it. Moving on to what we're going to talk about this week, of course, I'm going to talk about Monday Night Raw and the build for WrestleMania 32. And I'll also touch on the Roadblock WWE Network special. Now, we might as well start with that. I wasn't home to watch that live, and it's a pretty good thing. It was just a solid, non-televised or house show, really, that was just put on the WWE Network with, a few pretty decent matches. And if you took it for what it was and you accepted it for what it was, then I think it was a pretty entertaining show. If you were looking for surprises and swerves and all this shit, we pretty much had a feeling you weren't going to get that. The only major disappointment I felt with the show was that we didn't even get Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt turned it into a handicap match with him and Harper both taking on Brock Lesnar, and Bray never even got in the ring. So it looks like they are going to be holding off Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar just a little bit longer, and we might get that feud after WrestleMania. So I guess I can live with the fact that these two guys didn't face each other at Roadblock, because Brock would have killed him to build himself up for Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. Not that he needs it, but you knew Brock would go over if that match indeed took place, and I guess I'm glad that they held it off. I just wish they wouldn't have advertised it. Dean Ambrose, of course, as expected, did fall short of winning the WWE World Heavyweight title from Triple H, but he did score a 3 count on him and had it overturned because of the technicality. Like the foot, just one toe was underneath the bottom rope, and the referee saw it and waved off the 3 count. So they did all they can do to keep Dean Ambrose strong while also having Triple H retain, so they can both go into their big matches at WrestleMania. I thought the match was pretty good, some pretty decent brawling. I liked the finish, the way Dean missed the elbow drop on the table and then had to crawl and scratch to get in the ring just in the nick of time to beat the 10 count, and then as soon as he gets in, Triple H nails him with the pedigree and pins him. I thought that was pretty good stuff. The undercard was pretty decent too. They threw the NXT match at us with Enzo Amore and Big Cass. I don't know too much about those guys. I mean, I've seen them a few times in NXT. I know they've been there a long time. They are hugely over. I guess it's one of those things where I just don't get it. I guess if I watched them a little bit more, I might find them entertaining, and they're definitely not bad. I think that big guy has definitely got some potential, and the little one has got a shit ton of charisma, and the fans really seem to enjoy their intro. If they were to do something like that at WrestleMania with 100,000 people all talking along with him, that would be a pretty epic sight to see, but doesn't look like like they're going to make the full-time roster in time for WrestleMania, and they did fall short of winning the NXT Tag Team titles. Not too familiar with the NXT Tag Team champions either. Like I said, I don't watch nearly enough NXT as I should. Feel free to give me shit about it in the comments section because I deserve it. But those NXT Tag Team champions, they remind me of Tully and Arn. Is that what they're going for? I have not really seen them, and they've been champs for a few months. But I really like the Revival's old-school approach to tag team wrestling, and I'm glad they're on top. I'm going to have to start watching a little bit more of them. I gotta say, I love the Divas match too, Charlotte versus Natalya. Those are two girls that worked a few times in NXT. I remember that one match they had in NXT with Brett and Flair, each in their respective family members' corners. That was cool. Natty put on a really good showing for herself, and I liked her shirt. So that's all I'll really mention about Roadblock. Those are really the only memorable things about the show that I can think of. I didn't dislike the show at all. I thought it was a nice little pre-WrestleMania treat on the WWE Network, and it gave me pretty much exactly what I was expecting. I am not going to be so easy, however, on this Monday night's Raw. From Pittsburgh, look, we are 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, WWE. You have got to put the pedal to the metal here. I mean, they tried. I will give them credit, especially on the Roman Reigns stuff. They tried. We'll get to that in a minute. But overall, the show was not, I don't know, it wasn't very good. The crowd definitely wasn't into it at all. Not many "this is awesome" chants, and the crowd wasn't really marking out for anything like they were last week in Chicago. The show definitely had its moments, but there was a lot of things that completely fell flat as well. So I hope the next two Raws leading up to WrestleMania, especially that go-home show, they better be some damn good episodes, I'll tell you that right now. In a nice treat, Raw actually opened up with a title match instead of a 20-minute-long, boring-ass Authority promo, so I'll give them credit there. They opened with the New Day defending the tag team titles against the League of Nations again. This time it's going to be Rusev and Del Rio taking on Xavier and Big E. New Day was giving shit to the League of Nations all day long on Twitter. They were roasting them. I think Kofi was dressed as Sheamus and Big E was dressed as Rusev, and they were doing these funny-ass skits. Finally, they get into this tag team match. New Day actually wins with Xavier holding down the tights on Rusev, and as soon as the 3 count hit, Rusev jumped right on Xavier. The League of Nations swarmed the ring and completely beat the bejesus out of the New Day, left them laying in a big purple and pink unicorn heap. I'm guessing this is going to lead to a Mania match. Am I right? The card really only has 3 or 4 matches announced right now. The tag team titles are going to have to be on the line, and given what we saw on Raw, there's no time for the New Day to wrap up their feud with League of Nations and start something with somebody else before WrestleMania. So I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of a tag team match at WrestleMania between 2 of the 4 members, or maybe it's 4-on-3 and the 2 belts are on the line. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. Maybe they'll add some other tag teams in there, which is also possible. Not really sure yet, but one thing we know for sure is that the issue between the New Day and the League of Nations is nowhere close to over. Dean Ambrose was out next to cut a promo talking about his match with Triple H at Roadblock and his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Paul Heyman comes out to the stage and cuts a very, very typical Paul Heyman promo as the advocate of Brock Lesnar. Dean Ambrose, as always, is hilarious and absolutely fearless of Brock Lesnar and dares him to come down to the ring. Paul Heyman is trying to restrain Brock Lesnar. No, don't go down there. We're going to save this for WrestleMania for the big payday. Dean Ambrose continues to punk Brock out until Brock just can't take it anymore. He starts heading to the ring, and Dean, who is wearing this jacket completely zipped up, unzips it to reveal that he's carrying a crowbar, and he fends off Brock Lesnar with the crowbar. Later on in the back, too, in a really cool backstage segment, they got Dean Ambrose there, and Mick Foley, who was rumored to be on the show and is even rumored to be doing something at WrestleMania. I don't think he's going to be doing anything more than just an appearance. I can't imagine him doing a run-in or being a referee or anything like that, although he might be. But he approaches Dean Ambrose in the back and wishes him luck with his match with Brock Lesnar, and also says that he thinks he's a little bit nuts for wanting to get in there in the ring with him, and says that he's going to need a lot more than a crowbar to fend off the Beast Incarnate, and he gives him a big present, a big red Christmas present, because we know Mick Foley loves Christmas. You knew it was the barbed wire bat, too. It was this big, long, rectangular box, and Dean opens it up, sure enough, pulls out the baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. Mick Foley even referred to it as a torch passing. Remember, these guys were supposed to work together a few years ago when Mick Foley first came back, but then the doctors took a look at him and said, you ain't never getting in the ring again, and the whole thing was scrapped. So now Mick Foley kind of passing the torch to Dean Ambrose as the resident crazy, fearless guy that doesn't give a shit what he does to his body. I guess it was a nice little moment, but if that is indeed a torch passing, then that baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire actually needs to be a torch, and Dean better light that son of a bitch on fire at WrestleMania. I'm excited for Brock and Dean. I really think it can steal the show. I think these guys are going to go all over the place. I've said a few times in previous commentaries that Dean is going to have to get really inventive with a lot of his offense if he has any chance of beating Brock Lesnar, and I think he will. This match has the potential to be extremely entertaining and, for God's sakes, bloody. First of all, you know Brock loves to juice, and now that you got barbed wire baseball bats involved, if neither one of these guys bleeds in this match, I swear to God, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Ryback defeated Sin Cara in a get-over match, pretty much just a squash. They've been doing this with Ryback, stringing up some guys for him to beat. Now he's targeting Kalisto, and it actually looks like it's going to happen. He straight up challenged Kalisto for the U.S. title at WrestleMania after he was done defeating Sin Cara. So it looks like, even though it's not officially announced yet, I'm guessing that'll come on SmackDown, but it's going to be Ryback versus Kalisto. And I really don't want to see Ryback win the U.S. title, not at WrestleMania, but I kind of have a feeling we might see that. We got a Stephanie and Triple H promo next. They waited a little while before they gave us the Authority promo. Stephanie comes out there first, just beaming with pride, and announces her husband, who was successful in his title defense, as we all know, on Saturday night at Roadblock against Dean Ambrose. Triple H then comes out there and gets on the mic, and they do everything they can do to get Triple H over as a heated heel. He does the classic shit on the fans, make fun of their lives, talk about their dead-end jobs and how miserable they must be, and how much they're all losers and they just completely suck at life in general. But the fans, they see through it. They know what Triple H is trying to do. They know that WWE knows that Roman Reigns is not over, so the only way to get Roman Reigns to be cheered when he wins the title is to make Triple H so incredibly hated that even a guy like Roman Reigns is going to be able to get cheered. But the fans are not fucking falling for it. So not only do you have Triple H insulting the fans, which they're having none of, then you have Dolph Ziggler interrupt the promo, which was kind of nice. Good. Ziggler getting a little rub with the WWE Champion and the Authority in the major storyline. He's coming out there and gets in Stephanie's face. They've had some issues, of course, before. Last week, they ran the angle where Dolph Ziggler tweeted something during the day and they made him take it down and then put him in a handicap match or whatever. So he comes out there and cuts a little bit of a promo. Dolph looked a tiny bit nervous. I think he might have even botched a word or two during his promo, but basically says no matter what the Authority does to him, no matter how many obstacles they throw in front of him, he will never ever quit. So Stephanie says, okay, if you want to get a match at WrestleMania, all you have to do is win one match tonight. That match is going to be against my husband, the Game Triple H. So for the first time in many years, I don't know how many, I think the announcer said 3, Triple H is actually going to be competing in the ring on Monday Night Raw, just a couple of days after he competed on Saturday night. So it's nice to see a part-time world champion actually getting in the ring. This is a hell of a lot more than Brock and Rock ever did. And I was kind of thinking that Triple H and Dolph Ziggler would have a pretty good match together. Let's go ahead and fast forward to that since we're on this subject. It wasn't that good of a match, was it? I mean, the fans, they weren't into it. It just seemed like it was quiet a lot. It just seemed a little bit sloppy. It had its moments, and I guess, like the end when Dolph finally tried to make that last-ditch comeback, and he almost had Triple H beat. The whole time, you thought this was so predictable. You knew this was going to be when Roman Reigns was going to make his return because Triple H was insulting the shit out of the audience. Now he's going to be taking on this beloved internet guy in Dolph Ziggler. It was so clear what they were going to try to do. They were going to bring Roman Reigns back later on when Triple H is facing Ziggler after he's already insulted the crowd and all of that, and it didn't work. And instead of a situation like we thought was going to happen, we envisioned Triple H beating the shit out of Dolph Ziggler or assaulting him or hitting him with a chair or whatever until Roman Reigns runs out there to make the save. But the match just ends. Triple H pedigrees and pins Dolph Ziggler, and then Roman Reigns' music hits and he starts coming down the aisleway. And then another thing that I kind of had a feeling they were going to do after the beatdown that Triple H laid on Roman Reigns, I had a feeling that when Roman Reigns came back, he was going to get very, very vicious the way he did the night of TLC when he beat the shit out of Triple H and the fans actually popped for that. So you knew WWE was going to try to do something like that again. And, Roman Reigns did really well. He came out there. It started out horribly. That was probably one of the worst takedowns I've ever seen when he hit the ring to tackle Triple H. But the brawl got better. They were all over the arena, back in the backstage area. They were over by the production equipment. Finally, Triple H is all busted open. Roman Reigns is going absolutely ape shit on him in the back, hitting him with everything, including a flat screen TV. Finally, the Usos have to come out there and try to calm down Big Cousin and stop him from murdering Triple H. And I think the fans might have been slightly into the brawl, but still at the end of the day, they were booing Roman Reigns. It is not fucking working. So now, unless WWE can really think of something awesome to do in the next couple of Monday Night Raws, 100% for sure that there is no way that crowd in Dallas is going to cheer for Roman Reigns unless the WWE has got the biggest trick up their sleeve that we've ever seen, and they're able to play the fans somehow to where they actually are cheering Roman Reigns in that main event, however they book it, whether they have surprise run-ins or whatever the fuck they do, big swerves, something's got to happen for the fans to either, number one, cheer Roman Reigns, or number two, they swerve us and give us a Roman Reigns heel turn, or have Triple H retain the title, or something like that. Otherwise, if you go with the outcome of Roman Reigns defeating Triple H and celebrating with the WWE title to close out Jerry World in front of 100,000 people, you are going to have 100,000 people booing their asses off. So tonight was pretty much proof of that. They tried to get heat on Triple H. They brought Roman Reigns back in very viciously after he hasn't been on TV for 2 or 3 weeks. He absolutely beats the crap out of Triple H, bloodies him up, and the fans still aren't having it. You know, WWE is going to have to do something, or the main event of WrestleMania is going to suck balls. But I'm not panicking yet. I'm optimistic, as I always am. I know the WWE knows that they can't go with that finish. I mean, unless they just don't care if the fans boo, which is a very good possibility that they don't care, and they're just going to do it anyway. But if they want to avoid those boos, they're going to have to give us some sort of a swerve or some sort of a surprise, and I'm confident right now that they will still do that. But try as they might tonight on Monday Night Raw, I don't think what they attempted to do with Roman Reigns worked at all. We also had Sami Zayn competing in a singles match tonight on Monday Night Raw for, God, what's it been since he's been on Raw? That match with John Cena for the U.S. title when he was the open challenge opponent or whatever, so it's been a long time since Zayn has been on Raw. He took on The Miz with Kevin Owens on commentary. Now they're playing up the fact that Sami Zayn wants an Intercontinental title shot at WrestleMania. To me, that would be the match to have. We've been talking about it for months, given the history between Zayn and Kevin Owens. You know, one-on-one Intercontinental title match, 5-star match, easily these guys can have on the grandest stage. That's what I would like to see, but you kind of have a feeling that it's going to be a multi-man match of some kind. The commentators, specifically JBL, keep mentioning the fact that Sami Zayn does not deserve an Intercontinental title shot. He has not been on the main roster long enough, which is what makes me think they might add other guys to this. But in the meantime, Sami Zayn picked up the victory. Kevin Owens got off headset, and The Miz actually attacked him, and that led to Sami Zayn getting the pin in the ring and winning the match. So kind of an odd finish, but Zayn gets the victory over The Miz, which, thank God. But if they did actually want to go with a one-on-one match between Zayn and Owens, which of course we all would be fine with, I would think that Zayn, would probably have to prove himself or win a specific match on Monday Night Raw, maybe a major angle, maybe a main event of SmackDown, or something like that, something to earn the title shot. They still have time to do that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. What else do we have? The Usos, I think, beat the Social Outcasts. I don't even remember which 2 of the 4 they faced, but the Dudley Boys were on commentary for that, and that issue between the Usos and the Dudleys is not over with yet either. Not sure if either of these 2 teams are going to be booked on WrestleMania unless it's a pre-show or if it's the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. But as it looks right now, I think the Dudleys and the Usos might be on a collision course for a pre-show tables match or something like that. What did we have in the way of Divas matches tonight? I think Naomi and Tamina defeated Team Bella, Alicia, and Brie when Lana came out and distracted Brie Bella again. They then went to a backstage interview with Paige, how she was talking about WrestleMania, and then she was interrupted by Tamina and Naomi and Lana. So I don't know if Lana might be a new member of Team Bad, or I don't know where the hell they're going with this, but Lana clearly is probably going to be getting in the ring pretty soon. I don't know if that will be at WrestleMania. Could be another pre-show type of deal, or there could be just a big giant Divas match involving everybody, involving Brie and Naomi and Tamina and Paige and Lana. Who knows what they're going to do with those girls, but I guess we're going to find out sooner than later because there's less than 3 weeks left, so they need to start announcing more matches pretty quick. We also got Chris Jericho versus Neville in a one-on-one match. Now, this match was interesting. Jericho cut a promo before the match started talking about AJ Styles, of course. And then during the match, I had my head turned away, and I did not see what Neville did. I guess he went for a baseball slide or something like that and might have rolled his ankle. And then Chris Jericho got himself intentionally disqualified by shoving around Little Nate or something. So my only question is, was Neville legitimately hurt? Because it did almost look a little bit funny. So I'm not even sure what really happened. I just hope that Neville's okay. Jericho threw a tantrum, got himself disqualified, got back on the mic and started bitching some more. Finally, AJ Styles came out there, and it was just meh. I mean, I can't even put any other words to it. I mean, AJ just walked down there and hit him with the Styles punch or whatever or the phenomenal forearm is what they're calling it. I don't know what he used to call it in Japan or in the Indies, but he hit Chris Jericho with that, and that was the end of the segment. So what the hell's going on between these two guys? Are we going to get a WrestleMania match? And if we are, there's got to be a stip in there. I've thrown out the retirement speculation before because Jericho is reiterating to the fans, saying that he's the best in the world at what he does, when clearly that's not the case. He's above average at best at what he does, given his age at 44, 45 years old. So in the next couple of weeks on SmackDown and Raw, if AJ, and Jericho start cutting more promos together and they were to have a career match at WrestleMania where Jericho's career is on the line, then I'd be fine with them doing a fourth battle between the two. Otherwise, if it's just a straight-up match for bragging rights, I don't really care to see that. Moving on now to the big main event segment. This one was even kind of a letdown. You were going to have The Undertaker confront Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon. So the McMahons were going to be involved in the main event instead of the World Heavyweight Champion, who's competing on Raw for the first time in 3 years. He's actually middle of the card, working with Ziggler. That was pretty surprising. They saved the main event slot for this big epic confrontation between the three of them. Vince comes out there first, talks his normal shit about Shane McMahon. Taker comes out with his 10-minute long entrance, as usual. And we were hoping that we might get an explanation out of The Undertaker. Why is he even agreeing to do this? Why is the Undertaker character even considering helping Vince McMahon in any way, shape, or form? Here comes the money, ends up hitting. Shane McMahon comes down to the ring, dancing, and doing all of his footwork and everything, gets into the ring, and basically confronts The Undertaker as well, talks some shit to his dad, and calls The Undertaker out, basically asks him the same question that we're all asking him, and why would he even do this? Why would he agree to do it? And let The Undertaker know that he's going to do everything in his power. He's going to do absolutely everything to win this match. And I am a little bit intrigued by this match, especially with Shane McMahon's promos, which, by the way, he botched and made a really nice recovery halfway through that. You can tell Shane is a little bit rusty on the mic, but he made it very clear that he will die before he loses this match. So I think that gives us great potential to have some pretty amazing drama in this Hell in the Cell match between Shane and Taker. And then Shane goes on to call Taker a puppet, saying that he's just doing whatever Vince McMahon wants. And that finally sets him off. The two start brawling with each other. Taker is going to strike Shane, and he ducks out of the way a couple of times. Finally, Vince shoves Shane right into The Undertaker, right into a choke slam, and the show goes off the air with The Undertaker's music playing and Shane laying there. So really not that exciting of a main event segment. Nothing was really resolved. We didn't get any questions answered. We still have no idea why The Undertaker is willing to go through this match for Vince McMahon and fight so hard for him. I have no doubt the match will probably be pretty good. As crazy as that sounds, considering these two men's age, the fact that they're both part-timers at best, and Shane was never really even a wrestler to begin with, I still think we're going to get a good match out of these two, but I think the story needs to tie in together somehow at the end. Right now, it's still not making a whole lot of sense why this match is even taking place. And the ramifications of the result of this match is so epically huge, too, because it's going to change the face of WWE and Monday Night Raw, potentially, especially if Shane wins and takes control. And I do like what they're doing a little bit if they're bringing the real-life reality of WWE's situation into the storyline, saying that Vince McMahon is out of touch and they need a new regime, they need some new ideas, they need a new era in the WWE. Maybe after WrestleMania 32, we could actually launch into some kind of a new era. Not back to Attitude Era or TV14 or anything like that, just a new kind of... the product needs a facelift. I've always said that. You know how The Undertaker's character has changed so much over the years? I think the WWE needs to do that as well. And they've gotten very stale in recent years. And we go through these pockets throughout the year that really, really suck. And then shit just seems to get hot around WrestleMania time. And then it starts sucking again. So WWE, I think, needs to make some changes. And if they make some of those changes part of a storyline, I think that can satisfy the fans a little bit because they don't know if they're getting worked or not. So the WWE has put all of us in a position where we have to root against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And that's why I'm wondering if there's going to be some big swerve. There was even rumors today that Kurt Angle could be coming back to the WWE. Apparently he might have had a meeting with Triple H or something like that. So we thought, given that Raw was in Pittsburgh, Kurt Angle's hometown, that we might actually see our Olympic hero return to the WWE, and Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon have got that history. So I was thinking maybe Shane McMahon could announce Kurt Angle as his replacement in the Hell in the Cell. So we didn't get Kurt Angle at Monday Night Raw, but I think maybe there is a possibility that he could do a run-in in this match and help Shane McMahon out. Given the history that the two of them had, they can say, while Shane was away, so was Kurt Angle. The two of them became friends and became tight during both of their years away from the WWE and kind of kept it quiet. Shane McMahon might have also made a few friends in Japan, namely the Bullet Club. So I think this match between Shane and Taker in the cell is going to have some surprises like that. It's going to have some run-ins, some interference, some swerves, some drama. It absolutely must have that. And if it does, it could possibly challenge Dean and Brock for the best match on the show. But all in all, I give this Raw maybe a C+ at best. I give props to Triple H for getting in the ring twice in the last 3 days. I appreciated that they tried to make Roman Reigns vicious and brutal and pissed off the way they did, but I think it's just, too little too late. And now we have 2 Monday Night Raws left before WrestleMania. And one of the two of them, if not both of them, needs to be really, really, really good. So even though we only have, what's the card looking at right now? Let me glance over to my screen here. We've got, Triple H versus Roman Reigns, Brock and Dean Ambrose, Shane versus Taker, and the Triple Threat Ladies match for the Divas title. Other than that, we've got Ryback and Kalisto penciled in. We've got Zayn and Owens penciled in to do something with each other or with other guys. We have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We're probably going to get an additional Divas match. We're probably going to get an additional tag team match. Those could take place on the pre-show. I hope the Battle Royal does not take place on the pre-show. Am I wrong for misremembering that? Was the Battle Royal on the pre-show last year? Or one of the 2 years that they've done it? I would like to see it on the main card. Other than that, we don't really have anything else other than maybe AJ Styles and Chris Jericho, like I mentioned a minute ago. So that's pretty much our card for WrestleMania. So WWE, you've came through for us in a pretty decent way in the last 2 WrestleManias. Do not let us down this year, especially this year when you've got this ginormous crowd that's going to shatter every record you've ever had. Get your shit together and do it right, motherfuckers. You got to wonder if they're going to add any more legends. Are we going to see any more appearances on these last 2 Monday Night Raws? What about Stone Cold Steve Austin? What about Shawn Michaels? Will The Rock be on a Monday Night Raw leading up to WrestleMania? Probably not, but you would think he should be on a show building to this massive event. We saw Mick Foley finally tonight. He's also going to be on Stone Cold's podcast, I think, the night after SmackDown before WrestleMania. So WrestleMania week is filled with a lot of great shit. They've got a big Daniel Bryan special on Monday, and then they've got Mick Foley on the Stone Cold podcast. Then they have the Hall of Fame Saturday night. They even have an NXT show in there. I think the night before that, even I don't remember what night that's happening, but WrestleMania week is loaded. Oh yeah, we also got another Hall of Fame inductee tonight. Was this the last one, or is there more to come? But as expected, Jacqueline was announced. I mentioned that last week that I think we all knew that she was going to be going in next. And pretty good fit. It's Texas, it's Dallas. She started her career there. So I'm happy to see her go in, although there are a few other ladies that I would like to see go in as well. I think we are long overdue for Miss Elizabeth. She's probably the one that should have gone in first. I mean, she's the first lady of the WWE. Now that Savage is in, I was really hoping Liz would get in really quickly after him. So hopefully next year. What about Luna Vachon? She was an extremely unique ladies wrestler, and of course her family name carries a lot of weight in the wrestling business. And even someone like Sable. I mean, I hate to even mention Sable because I had literally zero respect for her when she was a WWE diva, but she did do a lot for the WWE, much like Sunny did, and Sunny got in the Hall of Fame, and Sable is yet to make a porn video. She's got a good, nice life with Brock Lesnar. Sable is definitely the cleaner of the two. You would think they would want to put Sable in, but I'm sure all those ladies' years are coming in the future, but this year belongs to Jacqueline, and that's fine because I loved her. And I have a feeling she's going to say some pretty entertaining things and tell some pretty fun stories during her Hall of Fame induction speech, and I can't wait to see it. So congrats to Jacqueline. So that is it for me for this week. You probably will not hear from me again until after Monday Night Raw. Like I said last week, this day in history will be returning near the end of the month here. And I will get back to giving those to you guys on a regular basis. I'm probably going to do a Q&A in the next few weeks as well, so start sending your questions to goodmicwork@gmail.com. As it relates to WrestleMania week right now, my schedule will probably be a review of the Go Home Monday Night Raw. I will probably also do a completely separate predictions video. A lot of times I include my predictions in the Go Home pay-per-view Raw shows, but I might separate the two for WrestleMania. I'll probably even come up and do a video or a reaction to the Hall of Fame Saturday night, because I plan on being home for that, and I'm going to try to be here to watch the Hall of Fame and tweet with everybody live. I will, of course, right after WrestleMania, come up and do a reaction video on that as well, and then I'll do a review of the post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw. So a lot of videos coming to you in the next couple of weeks. Should be a lot of fun, and thanks again to everyone for all their awesome support. The WrestleMania Memories video is still going strong, still getting a ton of great feedback on it, and I'm happy with the success of it so far. So thanks again to everyone that showed appreciation for that video. Leave me all your thoughts on Monday Night Raw, ideas for WrestleMania, and where you see things going in the overall state of the WWE in the comments section below. You can hit me up on social media, on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to give me your opinions there, feel free. You guys have a great rest of your week. I will catch you next week after Monday Night Raw. Until next time, peace.